Has there ever been a time in your life where you felt on top of the world? Where you felt almost invincible? That just for one split second, things seemed to be good in every area of your life. Or even if they weren't amazing in every area of your life, you weren't afraid of it. You just felt good about living, good about your life in general, or maybe good where your life was headed. You just were good. Just felt great. Wouldn't you like to feel like that all the time? Well, guess what? There's a way to do that. And I'm going to explain that to you in this video today. Hello, my fellow flawless, limitless, sexy, sassy, saucy Hbics. How are you on this lovely morning, afternoon, or evening? How are you all? I hope you're all doing fabulous. I hope you're all choosing to be the versions of yourself that have exactly what you want. I hope that's what you're doing. If you're new here, how you doing? I'm Kimberly, and yeah, I'm like this all the time. And if you like getting what you want, and you like getting it in a timely fashion, and you like knowing everything there is to know about conscious manifestation, well, then you and I should be friends, because that's all the stuff I'm into as well. So I would love for you to hit subscribe and come back and see me. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're going to talk about states of consciousness today. Yeah, I know I have a ton of videos on states of consciousness. I'm aware. But I think this one might just be the one that zaps you, so you can really understand, more than just conceptualizing what it is. I think this is going to be the one. Now, I will say, I have a feeling that those of us who are maybe, we'll say like 30 and above, this might be the video for you where you understand what it means to be in a state. Not saying that anybody younger than that age aren't going to get it, but you'll see what I mean by the examples I'm giving. So just saying, just going to preface. First of all, why does a state of consciousness matter? Why does it matter? Why do we got to use that phrase? States of consciousness. States of being. What is it? Your state is who you are. Your state is who you walk around all day long believing as, or believing in, believing you are. Your state is everything about you, everything you believe, literally all your beliefs, your memories, and what you believe about your memories. All of that is a part of your state. How you view the world, how you perceive reality, how you perceive and interact with other people. It's all part of your state. So your state is something you are dealing with 24/7, not optional. You are always in a state. And you do move through states all the time. But you tend to land and hang out in a dwelling state. So you might shift out, have a day of perceiving life as shit, and you might slide right back into your dwelling state and wonder why you were as upset as you were over the other state. But it's not like you're actually always aware when you're shifting. However, I like to keep it 100, and I can tell you, I have physically have felt other state shifts that I've experienced in my life. I just want to keep that real. So sometimes you do, but it's okay if you don't, right? This is nothing to be stressed out over, okay? In one of my coaching calls over this past week, I was trying to do what I'm doing in this video right now. I was trying to explain to this wonderful Hbic what exactly it meant to just decide who you want to be. I feel like there's a hair. I feel like there's a hair. Drive me nuts. How do you just decide you are someone? Because that's kind of like the motto, the slogan on my channel. Just make a decision. Decide to be your new self, which really is just another fancy way of saying embody a state. Shift your state. How do you know outside of you just making that decision, how the hell are you supposed to know whether you are this new self or not? Well, number one, how you perceive reality is going to let you know. Okay? And based on your decision, if you believe it or not, if you agree with it or not, that's how you're going to know. So if you're making a decision to be a particular version of yourself, but right that millisecond after you've made the decision, you're right back to perceiving reality as nothing's changing. I haven't gotten my manifestation yet. This sucks. Life sucks. That kind of an attitude. I would, probably say you're not in the state of the wish fulfilled. Just saying. Why does that state thing matter? Because you're always experiencing life through the filter of your state. And your state is what decides for you what you are going to experience in your reality. So if you are regularly in a state of believing that life sucks, love stinks, your money department stinks, everything stinks, love sucks, my bank account sucks, you're going to keep perpetuating experiences that validate or make that true for you. Hence, when you discover conscious manifestation, you want to think about, who do I want to be? What do I want to experience in my life? What am I manifesting? And then you make your decision from there of who you are. Every single manifestation technique out there really are just tools to get you into that state, to change your identity. Okay? So if you're struggling to understand what it would feel like to be a particular version of yourself, this is what came up in the coaching call. I was trying to give her like an everyday example. And I used myself. And I told her, I would say like the first 3 or 4 years in my 20s, so like age 20 to about age 24, 25, I felt invincible during those years. I felt like I looked my best, I felt my best, and I felt like nothing could get in my way. And every day I felt that way. Every day. I had a great group of friends. Based on who I was at that time, I was seeing them so regularly. We did everything together. We went out all the time. Life was great. It surpassed just being in a good mood one day. It was not just my good mood. This was who I was 24/7. I felt on top of the world, unstoppable. And I had a very positive outlook on life. I was expecting things to go my way, and they quite often did, for the most part. Until, of course, I picked up a fucking numerology book that changed my love life for me in the worst possible way. But that's a different video. But in those years, those early years of my 20s, this is why I said anybody 30 and above, you might get what I'm saying, that if you ever had a space of time in your life, it's not that you peeps who are 29 and younger can't relate to what I'm saying, but because there's more time lived, linear time lived, that you might have more references to look back at. But it's not to say that you don't have any, so don't take it that way. But now fast forward to me officially applying what I was learning by Neville Goddard. I was age 42 by then, okay? A lot of time had gone by where I did not feel like that 20 to age 24-year-old version of myself. It had been decades since I had felt that kind of good. And again, I'm not referencing just having a day where you're in a good mood. This was a feeling internally, my whole outlook on life, how I perceived life, how I perceived interacting with people. I was happy. Life was Everything was full of possibilities. And again, I keep using that phrase, unstoppable, but I felt unstoppable. Like life was good. I was ready to take on the world. Blah, blah, blah. That decline, it was pretty steep, the decline in me throughout those 25 and after years. The only amazingly wonderful thing I had in those years was having my son and having him, me being a mother to him. That was my happy. That was still my happy. He's still my son. I still love him. But I'm just saying, like, everything became about him. So my love life area, definitely the money area, they were miserable. Miserable. So he was my only spark of joy, my boy, raising my boy. Okay? So the attitude, how I walked around day to day, wasn't hopeful. All my hope was going into him, doing my best to survive. And I definitely lived paycheck to paycheck. Felt like I was living even on less than paycheck to paycheck for him, to give him, to the best of my ability, a better life, for his happiness. Mine went out the door. Didn't care because it didn't look hopeful. And that was my attitude. That was my belief. This is just my lot in life. Things aren't going to be great for me. I'm not meant to have a good life. So I'm just going to put all the energy I had to muster, even a half-ass good mood, I would put it out for him. Okay? Then I find this stuff, start applying, and a gradual shift began to happen. But internally, there is an internal difference on how I feel, how my energy is now versus the years in between age 24 to 42. Now, listen, don't get me wrong. It's not like I was feeling like a bloody unicorn at 42. It took me a couple of years to really started shifting and applying and learning and therefore becoming. It took me a little bit. But when I finally understood states of consciousness, that moment of time from 20 to 24 for me, I finally understood what tapping in to a state means. I understood it. That's what made sense to me. That description of, I remember feeling on top of the world, invincible. I was hopeful in every single category, and I had expectations of how my life was going to go. I had expectations, but those expectations were happy expectations, as in, I didn't question it. I thought for sure what those expectations were going to happen, and they probably would have. But like so many other people out there, I had an experience, a very upsetting, traumatic experience in my life that unfortunately at the time set the course for the downward spiral. Changed me completely, gutted me, Still get the yuck feeling, but my point is, I look back, and obviously if I had known about conscious manifestation, I probably would have been able to handle that experience completely different. But I did what I could. I did what I could with what I had at the time mentally, or where my understanding of life was, because I did not even know law of attraction, law of assumption, none of that then. But I can still, even now as I'm making this video, I can even like, oh, I'm getting the zhuzh. I can go back there. I can tap in to that 20 to 24-year-old Kim and get it again. And know what I mean when I say I feel on top of the world. Life was good. Life was fun. I can still tap into my, mommy son moments where I still get that happy joy when I think about some of the things, I did with my son, taking him to places, even if it was just, going to a pumpkin farm, things like that. But I can still tap into it. Now that's more like tapping into a memory, right? Who cares? If it helps you be able to think about who you are, use it. Use it. If you're living your best life, right? If that's the goal. And say you're just like me. I'm a multi-manifester. I like to manifest all at the same time, multiple areas of my life. That's how I do it. It's how I have always done it. And it helps you not get so laser focused in a negative way on one area. Okay? Don't think for a second that you can't manifest more than one thing at a time, because you can. Your brain's pretty damn smart. It's a supercomputer. You can move your focus. Okay, just saying. However, you can also come up with one scene that equals to you that you have it all. Every area has got the check marks, right? You checked off all the boxes, every single area, perfection. Okay, possible. So when I was, in a sense, reconfiguring who I wanted to be, and we're going to reference back to my September of 2022. I had already well understood states of consciousness by September of 2022. So that really wasn't the beginning for me. But I referenced that time because all the years prior to that, I understood states. I was embodying the state to manifest long before September of 2022. But that was such a benchmark moment for me. It was a whole month and it sucked. I did not feel good. I was not on top of the world, just saying. But I can look back now and I see that's what I did as this new self, to tap into the new self, the self I am right now, is thinking about how did I feel during the happiest moments of my life? How did I feel? What was my outlook on my life? The main thing for me was I felt happy. I felt safe, secure, confident. I felt like I had no worries, that life was really good. And again, if something shitty would pop up, I didn't fall apart because something pops up in my 3D. I wanted that. I wanted to feel like that again. So if you've ever had a moment in your life where you just felt on top of the world, and even if it was like for a short period of time, right? It doesn't have to be from 20 to 24 like me. I'm saying maybe there's another moment. Maybe it was just a month where you remember feeling amazing about your life, or at minimum hopeful. And that you can pinpoint it, that like, yeah, that is the happiest I have ever been. That frame of time, I felt great, and I felt great about myself. If you have that, if you know you can touch something like that, use that as a reference point for your new state of consciousness. So that when you're thinking about who you want to be, tap into the feelings of that old version of you. The spunk. It felt like I was happy to wake up. I was happy to wake up. I was happy to go work out. I was happy taking care of myself. I was happy doing housework, doing house chores. I felt good. I always felt like I was on the move to something, right? Even though I might not have had a mega destination, but I felt like life was moving and grooving. I was thriving. So it felt good to do the mundane, boring things that we just get used to doing in life, the regular everyday chores. Felt good to me. I felt like I was doing it for a reason. And that reason was bettering me, bettering my life. You know, I had a bright future. Well, don't misunderstand having a bright future. That doesn't have to have anything to do with age. And I'm sure your mind went there, especially if you're anywhere near older, if you're over 40. I'm sure there is some yucky pressure that, you know, you're getting older. You only got a certain amount of years left. At least that's what my mind used to say to me. No. You still got plenty of time to thrive and rethink about life and start thinking about the happy direction you want to go in. Again, please, to any of you, if you're brand new to law of assumption manifestation, I am not talking about you sustaining a forever positive, happy, good mood. I mean, yeah, that would feel great to always feel good. I'm not saying don't do that. I'm saying that's not the message here. Your state of consciousness is an overall feeling about your life, about the world and what you think of it. So it's an internal overall identity feeling. But instead of making it so complicated, this is why I'm making the video, instead of making it so complicated on yourself, can you remember a moment in your life where you felt on top of the world? Wouldn't you love to feel that way again? Wouldn't you love to know that by you allowing yourself to think about how you would like life to be and understand that you can feel that way again, that you can do that for yourself simply by taking the time to imagine the life you want, the life you prefer, where all the things that you've been manifesting, they're already here. That's a part of your normal life now. Life feels worth living again. Life feels like you're thriving again, where you feel unstoppable, invincible, and that life was just going to keep getting better. And that if something shitty pops up in your life, you're not afraid of it anymore. You're not afraid of facing any obstacle, because that's how powerful and amazing you feel, because you got your zest for life back. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine feeling that way? Can you imagine being able to tap in how you used to feel, maybe in your magical unicorn times? Because you can. Because I'm going to tell you right now, not trying to make this a whole video about age and things like that, but I'm 51 and I've never been happier. And I thought the happy I was after my September of 2022, I would say about early November is when it was like, holy shit, this is awesome. You know, the incline was happening after September, but I never thought that that could be the happiness that I could attain again, that I could ever get that zest back. And I had my zest back, and my zest is back now. It's something you can sustain. This doesn't mean you can't have a bad day. This doesn't mean if tomorrow, like I'm a ball of tears over something, that's not going to stop my thriving. That's not going to stop the zest train from going. It's just a moment. And once you have your little moment, get the tears out, get it out of your system, shake it off like the dogs do, you get right back on that zesty train. Zesty train. I like that. We're going to coin that one. But do you see what I mean? Can you remember a time in your life where you felt happy, where you felt on top of the world? If you can, think about who you were then, what you thought about yourself, your life then, and apply that to who you want to be now. And you will be able to tap in to those feelings again. Listen, you just going back and thinking about past memories of that amazing time in your life can still get your body to feel back into that moment if you want. Please don't get hung up on feelings. This is not about forcing yourself to feel anything. But when you can allow yourself to experience your imaginal act, and by experience, I mean spiritually experience. You're experiencing it in here. Don't take the word spiritually and automatically go to, some kind of form of religion. That's not what we're saying. We're going past the physical 3D. You're doing it up here. You can get your zest, your pep in your step again. And listen, even if you've been on this journey for a little while, so it is never too late to get the pep in your step. Never too late. Okay, so enough rambling. Think about if you actually enjoyed waking up in the morning. Think about looking forward to facing your day every day and what it would feel like to be that person. And I'm telling you, if at 51, I can get that back, right? I haven't had that kind of zest since I was in my early 20s. And if I can get it back, started, I would say, I'm 51 minus, in my late 40s. And I'm still rocking it in my early 50s. Well, there is no age limit on anything that we talk about over here in Law of Assumption land. Think about it. tap in to those old memories. Tap into them and take the feelings of them and bring it to the who you want to be now. They still apply. They will still help you, and you will manifest from them. Mark my words. You're manifesting from your state of consciousness anyway. So why not pick the state that you feel like you thrive in? So on that note, I'll see you tomorrow. This sucks.